Assalamu alaikum fam, hope you're doing fantastic. We're continuing our reading of Aqida Tawhid, and in this section we have excerpts concerning Tawhid al-Rububiyyah, which is Lordship, and Tawhid al-Uluhiyyah, which is Worship. Now I'm going to read you some of this excerpts here. He gives his Quranic citations, which is, I notice this is a format that he does, so it's incredibly helpful. Now, I'm almost done with the book, but I decided to basically go in order for you. Alright, so, he says, this means that whoever believes in Tawhid al-Rububiyyah, recognizing that there is no creator or sustainer or controller of the universe except Allah Azza wa Jal, then he must necessarily agree that none deserves worship in any of its forms. So here, creator, sustainer, controller. So, the creator, sometimes we think, okay, God created everything, like if you were a deist or someone who's not yet Muslim, right? And then you would, if you were sliding into paganism, you would see these sort of weird demigods of sustaining elements, right? You'd be like, oh, there's one deity for the river, there's one for the mountain, there's one for just this mountain, and so on and so forth. And then controller, you would think maybe back to the creator or other forces, right, that contribute and participate in that administration of the sort of godly bureaucracy. But here, with the Lordship, Tawhid al-Rububiyyah, the Lordship is in controller, sustainer, and creator. It's not limited, but when someone's the Lord of that, it's their duty. They're the ones who are going to decide, hey, this is what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. Don't go to anyone else. So when he says that once you acknowledge that, then you should want to worship that being. Because if you know that they're on top as the sustainer, creator, and controller, well, naturally, that being would deserve to be worshipped. Brilliant analysis. Except Allah, glorified is He. This is the meaning of Tawhid al-Uluhiyyah. Al-Uluhiyyah means worship. Al-Liyah, God, means the worshipped. So, none should be invoked except Allah. Now here, this one for me was really important because in today's age, you have so many strange people who call themselves God. Like, I was listening to one person, they're like, peace, God, and we're gods. And I'm like, what the heck? Why? Like, what are you talking about? Or they attribute power and dominion to, these unchanging yet limited forces. I don't know, the more I study different religions, the more you can differentiate between them and Islam. And I must say that Islam, in my opinion, has the most understandable faith because of the Tawhid element, which once you start to actually analyze it, you begin to see the brilliance of it. So if you're going to invoke Allah and worship Allah because He's the creator and sustainer and control of everything, well, there you go, right? That is so much more simpler and a mercy. It's annoying if you would have so many stupid deities. It would be ridiculous. I couldn't imagine living in ancient Greece and then being like, okay, well, Athena needs something, Dionysus needs something. Well, don't forget, Venus, she'll freak out. Oh, Hera's pretty angry, so we gotta do something for her. I mean, that's exhausting, right? Just utterly exhausting. Here, though, it's much more simpler. Worship Allah alone and recognize and acknowledge and believe in the Lordship of Allah and how He has control over all that. He says further here, nor should victory be sought from other than Him. Now this is more brilliant as well because you need help. Well, you gotta go with Allah Azza wa Jal for that aim. So you don't go to a crystal, you don't, do some strange things that some crazy lady told you to do. You don't go to a palm reader. You invoke Allah alone. And you give worship to Allah alone. Nor should reliance and trust be placed in other than Him. This one I liked because I actually really developed that. Reliance and trust. So, when you're struggling, when you're going through something, you just Allah alone. It's not, angel this one. Please, this person, do this intercession. No. It's just Allah. Nor should animal sacrifice be made to other than Him. That one was an important distinction for me. Because you think, okay, I'll sacrifice one for Musa Moses, for Yusuf Joseph. I'll make a sacrifice for, you name it. Here, though, you see, that is not allowed. It's not allowed. So, Tawhid, member of worship, Uluhiyyah, that encompasses all aspects of worship. Offering animal sacrifice is a form of worship. Therefore, if you want to keep within the bounds of Tawhid and not commit shirk, you cannot sacrifice, to anything other than Allah. So that was brilliant, because you think, you understand monotheism. Yeah, it's just about believing one. But then when you find out, the worship falls under that as well, then you begin to understand. That's pretty cool to me, I gotta say. Nor should oaths be made, or any act of worship be directed to other than Him. So here you see the oaths. So I thought, what's going on here? But when he says oaths, I swear by Allah, you're not necessarily, I heard, in fact, supposed to say that. But you can make an oath to Allah, but you can't be like, I make an oath to Saturn or some other weird thing, right? It's not like the pagans or the polytheists where they can be like, by Dionysus, by, Shibalba. None of that. Tawhid al-Rububiyyah is proof for the obligation of Tawhid al-Uluhiyyah. That's cool, right? So, the Lordship, the unity of Lordship being only in the hand of Allah, that is the proof that you're obligated to worship only Allah, as, aka, get it? Tawhid al-Uluhiyyah. So, he's already kind of laid it out for us logically that Tawhid al-Rububiyyah necessitates Tawhid al-Uluhiyyah. Because it's like, if you know and acknowledge that the Lordship of sustaining, creating, and controlling is all within the dominion of just Allah, then why would you go to anything else for worship and Lordship? It's like, this is a way in which it helps me understand, maybe for you as well. You go to the dishwasher has no power to change the, pay per hour for an employee. Cannot change what the order form is going to be for the next cycle of shipments. Everything is at the tippy top. Whoever is there, they decide. So the owner sometimes delegates authority, so I can't just say the owner because sometimes they deflect their authority to someone else on a team. But just imagine, one person has the authority to say hey or nay, So for me, that really helped. This is why most of the arguments with which Allah, glorified is He, confutes those who deny al-Uluhiyyah, their acceptance of Tawhid al-Rububiyyah. As example, Allah the Most High said, so now He's going to give us a Quran ayat for us. O mankind, worship your Lord Allah, who created you and those who were before you, so that you may become al-Muttaqun, the pious. He who has made the earth a resting place for you, and the sky as a canopy, and sent down water rain from the sky, and brought forth therewith fruits as provision for you. Then do not set up rivals unto Allah in worship, while you know that He alone has the right to be worshipped. Quran, Al-Baqarah 21 through 22. So notice how, okay, he alone has right to be worshipped, right? Well, no rivals in worship. Worship is Al-Uluhiyyah, right? And so it's really interesting because it says here again, made the earth a resting place for you. Creation, sustaining, because you can't rest unless you're sustained, right? And, the water rain is the controlling of the environment. So, no matter which way you look at it, the controlling, sustaining, and creating are in this ayat, which get into how that is a citation of Lordship and worship, Al-Uluhiyyah and Rububiyyah. So I really liked how he dropped that in for us and educated us on this factor, because it makes you see that there's more to the word Tawhid than we originally thought, but at the same time, it's something that helps us become better and understand what does it mean to say worship Allah alone. Because it's not just prayer, it's everything encompassing worship, right? So I really like it. It's very helpful. You can tell, like, the way the translator put this and the way this scholar, Milahan, mercy on him, laid it out for us is very logical. It's like from step here to step there, and it's presented in a way where you're like, nice. So that's part of it, and we'll get into the other part next time. But subhanAllah, I'm really happy for it. So if you want to nerd out and have fun, check out Tawhid al-Rububiyyah, Lordship, and Tawhid al-Uluhiyyah, which is worship. And make sure we're doing our best to understand those concepts and to have full belief in them. And look for evidences, signs in our surroundings of Allah's dominion and control, and to not commit shirk in anything.